Sounds good. I'm good. So ready?
Yep.
3, 2.
I, Siri Simons, S-I-R-I, space, S-I-M-O-N-S, consent that Headgear students can use this video for public distribution.
Just kind of tell me about yourself, since related to the environment.
Well, related to how I'm involved in Minnesota 350. So, as the co-chair of Campus Beyond Coal, I was asked by Julia to appear at the event last year and just talk about our campaign, especially because the event was taking place in front of the last coal burning power plant in Minneapolis, which was also the one that powered the U. And so I helped with the bike ride. I was really excited about that. I thought it was a great way to get students involved. And I spoke, and then I got involved this year just because I felt that that was a really important factor in our success as a campaign. We got the university to announce that they would reduce coal use on campus by 85% in a year after last year's event. And so I just wanted to continue to support something that I think really unifies people in the environmental movement in the Twin Cities.
What does the event sort of 350 not necessarily?
It means, well, I think it's important to consider that it's part of an international day of action, and I think it's really exciting that there are people in every single country around the world gathering on this day to talk about issues of sustainability. And so to me, it symbolizes that global effort that needs to happen, and it's exciting that each event is so tailored to that space that it's in. So ours is at the state capitol in the Twin Cities. I have a friend in Alaska who is on a beach, and they're talking largely about salmon issues. So it's sort of that global perspective, but local action that I think Minnesota 350 symbolizes, and just that coming together of a diverse group where one person can't make a huge difference alone, but together we can do a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, North Korea.
North Korea.
Yeah, I don't know.
So then, what are the greatest challenges facing the climate movement? It's going to be personal, or what do you think Campus Beyond Coal would say?
I personally think that the greatest challenges facing the climate movement is this disconnect between the environmental movement and the climate justice movement, and that when we think about issues of sustainability, sometimes people aren't considering the social justice implications of what we're doing, and in that way we kind of end up going off in two different directions. And so it's important to bring those two things together, social justice and the climate movement, and make it into one, and not have the environmentalists off on the side. Campus Beyond Coal, I think, would say that the issue is apathy, that people are really wrapped up in what they're doing, and they're not taking the time to think about how they can implement what they're learning in the classroom now, today, instead of waiting 4 years to make a change.
Can you give me an example of the climate justice movement, just the climate movement and the conflict that you see?
Yeah, definitely. I think that when, well, I'm trying to think of, this is sort of like,
Take your time.
yeah. I don't know, I mean, I can tell you guys what I think personally, but I don't think that it can necessarily be recorded as Campus Beyond Coal, because I think in a lot of ways the clean energy movement doesn't take into account low-income communities, and so sometimes people are proposing things like wind turbines and solar panels, but they're not providing ways for low-income populations to be included.
Hold on one sec.
But I just thought of one that you can record
Okay.
and use.
Okay.
Don't use the one about clean energy because that'll just look bad.
Okay. And then just as loud as you can speak too. I'm just kind of worried about that.
Okay, we can re-record too, I guess.
You're fine. Yeah, I think you're fine. Okay.
So one example would be food co-ops. And I think sometimes people think that they're creating this local food solution, but then they don't think about who is included in that local food solution. Do low-income residents and minority residents feel comfortable coming into a co-op? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's very catered to a middle-class white audience. And so thinking about things like that, I think, would be a good way to create a more cohesive movement.
Kind of final question here. What do you think are the most compelling solutions?
I think compelling solutions are this idea of creating a community. It's really hard to think about issues of climate change on this global scale because they're so huge. But when we think about how we can create sustainable communities in terms of relationships and how we relate to each other and how we relate to our environment, I think it's kind of simple, but that's what I see as the biggest way to move forward.
Anything else you wanted to add about climate movement, Campus Beyond Coal?
I love Minnesota 350. I think it's great. Not much else to add, but I hope that it continues in the future and just gains momentum because this event is so much bigger than the event last year. It's really exciting to see it just grow exponentially.
Cool.